Hi, I'm Ruth Reynolds. Welcome to the Museum Minutes, brought to you by the Cygne Historical Society. For this episode, I am going to feature the museum's drugstore display. The first druggist in Cygne was George Noble. He had a combined drugstore, grocery store. In December of 1872, he sold his stock to the Broadwell brothers. William H. Broadwell came to Linn County in 1871. This picture shows W. H. Broadwell standing in his drugstore. W. H. Broadwell first located in Pleasanton, where he served 2 years as a druggist before relocating in Cygne in 1873. Broadwell Drugs was located in what was known as the Diamond Block, where the Flatiron Building once stood. He later moved to the Rug Block. His store was on the corner where the old telephone office was located, currently a vacant lot. This is a picture of the front of Broadwell's Drugs. It was located on the lower level, and Dr. Scott D. Morrison, who is standing on the right, had his offices above it. You can also see the drugstore in the background of this photo. One of the artifacts at the museum is this postcard booklet. The back of the booklet reads, "With best wishes and greetings from W. H. Broadwell Drugs and Jewelry, Cygne, Kansas." It includes the following postcards: Main Street, Chestnut Street, a bird's eye view of Cygne, Grand Avenue, Oxbow Lake, and an old soldiers' reunion in Cygne. In 1887, William I. Ellsworth opened this drugstore in Cygne. This artifact, a tiny pocket almanac from 1882, seems to indicate that Broadwell and Ellsworth were partners at one time. In 1894, Dr. J. H. Cygne opened a drug company in Cygne. He sold his building, shown here, to C. E. Hesser in 1903. In 1920, Clayton Vodder, shown here with his wife Mamie, became the new druggist in Cygne. The museum houses several artifacts connected with Clayton and his wife Mamie. This painting by Don Lutton is of Clayton Vodder's boyhood home. This is an aerial photo of Clayton Vodder's home, which was located east of Cygne on Highway 152. On April 13, 1918, the Oklahoma State Board of Pharmacy presented Clayton D. Vodder with this certificate, recognizing him as a registered pharmacist in Oklahoma. The Kansas State Board of Pharmacy presented Vodder with a similar certificate on June 9, 1921. One of the artifacts in the drugstore display is this ledger from Vodder Drugs. We also have a box containing a few sheets of stationery with the letterhead Vodder Drugstore.
Our Vodder's Drugstore display has one of the largest medicine bottles and boxes collection in Kansas. A few of the interesting bottles and boxes: Dr. Bell's Pine Tar Honey and plant juice. Many of the old medicines contain a large amount of alcohol. Probably one of the smallest is 15%. In addition to the medicines in our other cabinet, we have more, such as Laxstim. Contains 16% alcohol and is a laxative. And also we have Admiration Foamy Shampoo, which is supposed to bring a rich lather to your hair. Glostora imparts gloss and luster and leaves the hair easy to manage after shampooing and keeps the hair in place. So we have plenty of shampoos. And also, Menthopepsin is an aid to digestion. It is a elixir, according to this. And we have a whole batch of other stimulants and stuff like pepsin to help digestion on the shelf. And the next, like Vinol, which contains 16% alcohol. That's it on the bottle. As you can see, many of these things that are used for headache, neuralgia, muscular aches and pains have 16% alcohol. Parker's Hair Balsam. It is for restoring color to gray or faded hair, and was only 60 cents. Oh, just perfect when I get older. I want to eat even more food. So, you have the stomatic stimulator and appetizer. For persons who are weak, undernourished, run down, and whose appetites and strength are impaired, it is to help you to be able to eat more food if you're not one of those people that is like, oh, I'm hungry all the time. And this is our collection of medicines. Among the many things in Vodder's drugstore, there was a soda fountain. And a soda fountain was the most important thing, I think, in the drugstore, because you got the fancy cups that you would drink like Coca-Cola in. And some cups were such like this one. Interesting cups. And your classical Coca-Cola cup with all the ridges and stuff. But then there was one thing you're forgetting. If you just drink out of a straight cup, that's boring. You always need the straws. Yes, the straws dispenser. Lift it up, grab a straw, put it back down. And also, the beautiful tray they would be brought out to you on. Or actually, they'd sit on. Now, let's move on to an old classic. Root beer float. You've got a root beer float cup and a spoon in it. Another version of this cup would be this one. Now, most of the things I just named require ice. So you had an ice pick. Pick out the ice. Chip it into pieces, drop it in the cup, and then there you go. You got a nice ice-cold soda phosphate. The last thing I'm going to talk about, you recognize this, I hope, ice cream dish, and an ice cream spoon. Another version of the ice cream dish is this one here. Now, if you wanted anything on your ice cream, they had to dip it out of a nice little tub, like as the strawberries on your ice cream. But first of all, they had to scoop it out. And then, they'd squeeze this here, and this would kind of push the ice cream out of the scoop. And that is the soda fountain in Vodder's drugstore. And also in the Vodder's drugstore, there was a ledger recording all the purchases of the patients that came in to buy medicine and other things. First, a few of the patients are E.L. Leisure, Harry Lawhead, J. Miller. Right here we have a balance scale and weights. The balance scale was used to measure the weight of the medicine. Here we have 2 mortars and a pestle. They were used to grind the ingredients and mix them together for medicines. Here we have the cash register that was in Vodder's drugstore.
On March 21st, 1968, the Oklahoma State Board of Pharmacy presented Clayton D. Vodder with a gold certificate honoring him for 50 years of service. On June 20th, 1971, the Kansas Pharmaceutical Association also presented C.D. Vodder with a certificate honoring him for 50 years of service. This receipt from the Kansas State Board of Pharmacy shows that C.D. Vodder renewed his certificate for the years 1976 and 1977. This certificate was presented to Clayton D. Vodder, recognizing him as a permanent contributing member of Shriners Hospitals for Crippled Children. On November 7, 1947, Clayton D. Vodder was named a Noble of the Mystic Shrine, Mirza Temple, Pittsburgh, Kansas. Vodder also received a certificate signed by President Ronald Reagan, honoring him for his service in the armed forces. On June 5, 1973, ownership of the drugstore passed from C.D. Vodder to William D. Daly. This form shows the change of ownership from Vodder's drugstore to Daly Pharmacy. This photo shows William D. Daly working in his pharmacy. This letter, dated August 21, 1980, granted Daly Pharmacy permission to participate in the Title XIX Missouri Medicaid Pharmacy Prescribed Drugs Program, effective June 1, 1980.